Hi, I'm attorney Doris DK, coming to you from DK Law Group, and here's what I want to focus on this video. HIPAA fines in your clinical healthcare business. Now, you might be thinking you have a small little healthcare business, you don't need to be thinking about compliance or abiding by regulations. But did you know that actually OCR, which is the Office of Civil Rights, and HHS, which is Health and Human Services, they seem like they're targeting small practices, primarily because a lot of small practices don't have compliance plans in place. In fact, 55% of the more recent fines have been issued at small practices. So it stands to reason that you've got a decent HIPAA compliance plan in place. Now, as you know, there are a lot of compliance regulations, and HIPAA's compliance is just one of the many regulations you need to adhere to. Now, one segment of the law that has actually come to change is the right of access law. Now, the right of access law requires that healthcare providers provide healthcare medical records to their patients once they ask for them. This means that if a patient asks for their medical record, that you are reasonable in your time and you're reasonable in your fees once you give your patients your records. Now, we've seen providers take weeks to provide patients their records, and that is no longer federally acceptable. A lot of states have their own privacy laws as well that will also discuss some sort of regulation surrounding this. However, what we've seen across the US is that small practices have been fined primarily on this right of access law. In fact, provider practices have seen upwards to $240,000 in fines for not allowing patients to get their access to their records immediately. Now, if you're a small practice, you might be thinking that you don't have the technology or the equipment or the firm understanding of what you need to do regarding these laws. Well, you're in luck. You can reach out to resources online, or you can reach out to us here at DK Law Group, and we can kind of keep you abreast as to what you need to do and come up with a plan to get you compliant. Now, a small practice cannot take a $240,000 hit. So you've got to be prepared to abide by the laws. Now, here's what I talked to you today about. Every small medical practice has to abide by HIPAA rules and regulations. Recently, the Health and Human Service and the Office of Civil Rights has been primarily targeting small practices because they know a lot of them are not in compliance, especially surrounding the right of access laws. Patients have a right to get their medical records immediately, and you as a provider, the guardian of their records, need to provide them as soon as you can and at a reasonable price to the patient. If you're not abiding by these laws, you stand to be fined, not only by your state and federally, significant fines. And usually this means that after you get an investigation, they start investigating other things in your healthcare business. If you're not ready for an investigation that starts with HIPAA and ends with something else, make sure that you're in compliance. If you need help with this, schedule consultation at dorismeet.com or dklawg.com. Thanks so much. Bye.